Alright, from the last time I showed you my onions, I cleaned up everything, let things dry out some, and I'm going to show you what's going on with them now. I am going to pull my onions out of the ground. This one here by my trellis garden. Reason is that most of these are dying out and they're starting to, I don't want to say rot, but they are starting to fall over on their own. You can see how bad the system, what has gone to this. I was at my other onion garden and this one had fallen over. And I wanted it out of there right away. But you can see how these onions, there's no insects involved with none of these at all. Nothing. Alright. So far, these are onions except for this one. This one come from my other garden. And it had fallen over, you can see. So I pulled it out, but I'm going to compare this onion, which come from my other onion garden, to this garden. So, but the purpose of this video, I had to pull all these onions because all of them were getting weak and getting ready to fall over. Every one of them were like this, okay? And this is because of what's going on right here, all right? Let me show you. I've got only, maybe there's 20, 25 left in here, but they are sturdy, they're strong. They're not fallen over yet, so I will be keeping an eye on these. Hopefully we get a few more days of growth out of the onion. But for some reason, this garden bed is not as good as the onion bed that's up there. Don't know why. I did the same amendments, but this bed must have something in it different, so I will have to do a soil test on it, and we'll try to figure out what's going on. But you can see how all of these leaves, what they're doing. They're just plain drying up. There's no bugs, there's no worms, there ain't nothing in these things. And I will tell you all about what I have decided the cause of what's going on with my onions this year. I'm going to go in the garage and get my screen set up, and we're going to start the curing process on these. We're not going to wash them. We're going to leave them alone. They're going to go in the garage and they're going to dry out. Probably here, hopefully in another 2 weeks, they'll be dry enough where we can start cleaning up the root systems, cutting them back, all that. Alright, you can see I've got these on this well-vented panel. I always put my onions on top of this, and I have my fan running, and I just keep air going against it. This is in the garage. A couple of weeks. We should be able to start cutting these down to size what we want. Leave the dirt on them, leave them alone. Just let them go through its curing process. Guys, if you have small ones, last year I had a bunch. I took and pickled every one of them. They're still good. Alright, now, let's go talk about onions. What I think I have learned what caused my problem with my onions. Let's call it back. Good morning, everybody. Yes, it's a week later since I showed you my onions and plucked them. I've been too busy to continue. Sun's rising, but you guys read that? Smile while you still have your teeth. We went to a meetup, and one of the YouTubers has stickers. I can't remember his channel. I'll have to find it for you and put it in the screen. But anyway, yeah, let me have a sip of coffee here. Alright, let's continue the talk about what I think has happened with my onions. Now, I have three notes. A couple of these, I can't say the name to them or some information about them. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the screen. I can't even begin to try to pronounce it. That's just Tony. So the first thing I thought about my onions, I may have said this already, is I thought I caused the problem by my fertilizer. The dust may have gotten on the stems. But I had only one problem. That fertilizer I had done a month and a half earlier than when I first started noticing something was going on. I first thought that's what it was. And I was keeping an eye on it. We went to our first meetup was when we had this issue. And so when I come back, then I really started noticing, warning what's going on, and I started trying to check in. And then so I did the video. We talked about stuff, and I've had several people comment about it, about what they thought possibly. I had an email, and the email is exactly the same thing I thought it was. Now, the first one was, like I said, I thought it was me, my fertilizer, which it's not. Second one was, had a person told me that maybe it's in the soil is an issue. That's not. That's not it. I mean, it's a thought. If it was a fungus that's been there a long time, but I think it would start the root system or something in that area. Okay. Then this next one is called white rot. And basically, I have notes to look at because I will not remember none of this. There's some people, gardeners, that can just go and go and go. 5 stars to you guys. And I think a couple of you guys know who I'm talking about. Anyway, it starts at the stem, and it starts to yellow out, and it just plain starts to rot. Okay. At that point, if you see that, you're supposed to pull the onion and look at the base surrounding of the onion. And most of the times you're going to see a fungus. And here's a picture. On that fungus, you'll see how it sits at the bottom. It starts to come up the stem. That onion is just totally no good. You were to throw those onions away. You are not going to compost them. They go into a ditch or a landfill. You get rid of them. Now, it says that it is a soil-borne fungus, and here's another name I'm not going to pronounce. And it says it can stay into your soils for many years, up to 20 years. So when I hear that, I'm like, all right, that garden's done. You need to just shut that garden down, grass grow over it, and start a new spot, is the way I look at it and I see it. They said the perfect conditions for this to start and to grow is between 60 and 65 degrees with a high humidity also. Now, my onions don't have that, so we're fine. These onions you cannot eat. You get rid of them. No composting them. All right? All right. Round 1's done. The second one, here's the name of it, and I'm just going to say it's a leaf miner, but you can see the rest. Anyway, if you look at this, and here's the picture, you look straight on down the stem, and it's got white spots, a straight line, almost a straight line going all the way down. Okay. This leaf miner, what they do is the male female actually bite a hole in the stem, and it sucks the juices out, and it moves on down. It keeps on going all the way down. Both of them do this. And then up to 8 days later, the female lays its eggs in that same hole. Okay. And let's see, I'm reading my note. Okay, the insect that does this kind of resembles a fly, real small, but it has a yellow crown head. The elbows are yellow, and that's what the insect looks like. Now, what I can tell you is, I smacked my head on the goat thing yesterday. My head's very tender. Whew. My onion garden beds have no insects in them. They have no worms, no caterpillars. I haven't seen nothing on them anywhere. Now, seeing that it talked about this leaf miner, I thought, well, if I had that, first, it doesn't have the white straight line, but I just for the heck of it, I went down the stem and I cut the stems at the bottom to look to see if there's anything growing inside the stem. There's nothing on my stems. There's never any bugs in them, so it's not a bug issue, is what I believe. Now, I did not read any further into it, whether you can save your onions or not. I'm assuming, I bet you can, if you get them harvested soon enough and let them dry out. I think you can. But I would check into this. Now, these things that I do tell you, you do your own research. Check them out. I mean, I've done some of mine, and so that's what I think. Leaf miner is not me, okay? This is what I think it is. Everything fits it perfect and what's going on. I cannot say the first word, but it's a leaf blight, and here's the name of it. Okay, and here's a picture of what leaf blight looks like. I have the exact same thing. I noticed the same thing, how all the white spots are throughout the whole stem, just sprinkled all the way through the whole stem. Okay, I'm going to kind of read what they say here, which I think it fits perfect. It just says all white spots all over the stem, and then the stem just dries up and dies off. And this is what I had. It was like the onions were ready, how they just get brittle and die off. That's what was going on with mine. Okay, it's an environmental condition, high rain, leaves stay wet too long, high humidity. Temperatures are between 50 and 75 degrees. They tell you do not water your plants in the evenings, water them in the mornings so the leaves can dry. But they say if you can, do not water from above water at the base. Talking about this particular one, this year, well last year, at this time last year we were 100 degrees right on it this whole time, overheating, things were burning up. We're always hot at this time, always. This morning, 60 degrees. So what I'm getting at is, we have had, you would say, for the past couple of months, we've had rain in the evening, say early evening. I mean, I haven't even watered the garden that often. So they say we've had rain in the evening. We'd have rain maybe overnight, and then basically my wife would go to work, so maybe say like around 6, 7 o'clock in the morning we may get another rain. So basically for over 12 hours those leaves, branches, everything are all staying wet. Plus the morning time before it even gets to dry off. And then you have back to sunlight again. So what it's just saying is that the conditions for me is perfect of why I got this leaf blight. And it looks just like it. All the readings I've done about it, it's there. Are my onions edible? Yes, providing I don't leave my onions out there to where the blight completely goes all the way down the stem, where you cannot cure your onions at the base. And this is why I pulled those onions out last week. So this is what I think, and I'm going to stick to it, guys, because it fits it perfect. I hope this helped you all on maybe understanding and looking at what's going on with the onions. And so, you know, guys, when you're doing onions, you must fertilize them things. They are heavy in nitrogen, and then they got to get into phosphorus. So you always have to fertilize them. It's just not one-time fertilizer. This year, I went strictly by the guidelines on how to fertilize your plants on onions. Well, actually everything I always do, but onions was different. And this year, I noticed a major difference. And I didn't notice a difference until my bulbs started growing. Then I was like, wow, they're really getting after it. And I realized that I was doing right. So blight knocked me down. All right, guys, I'm going to go. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for sharing, commenting, and give me a thumbs up if you would. You all have a great day, and we will talk to you later. Thanks again. Bye.